making my favorite all-time noodle soup during this time of year, and it's getting cold here in Oregon, so I'm going to show you guys how to make Qhaub Piaj with chicken. And Qhaub Piaj is basically just rice noodles and tapioca flour. It's a rice noodle, yeah. It's a rice flour and tapioca flour type of noodle, cut and made homemade, boiled in chicken broth and topped with all these delicious topping and condiments, and it's so comforting during this time of year. So I'm going to show you guys how we eat it in our house and what other toppings we like to put on top. And yeah, it's super comforting because, you know, winter is here, and I wanted to show you guys how to make this during this time of year. So let's go cook some Qhaub Piaj with chicken. Oh my god, let's go. Okay, so let's make the noodles. So in a bowl, you want to add in 1 bag of rice flour, and we also add in another bag of tapioca starch. And both of these bags weigh the same, they're both 16 ounces. And then you also want to add in some salt and mix that pretty well. And in the meantime, make sure you have some boiling water going, and in the boiling water, add in your vegetable oil, and then we're going to add this water into the flour carefully. And then mix this with a wooden spoon until the flour are pretty much all hydrated, and then we're going to switch off to your hands and finish rolling the dough. Just be careful at this point, you do have hot boiling water in the flour, so just be careful. So I'm going to switch off to my hands with a glove on. I like to wear a food safe glove to mix this just because it's a lot easier and it helps the flour not stick to my hands. So mix this well until you get a pretty good durable dough, and it should feel and look like this. And if you feel like if it's too dry, add a little bit more water. And then we're going to divide this into 4 equal parts, just so it's easier to roll out. And also, if you guys want to make smaller portions, you guys can make separate portions per cut of dough that you make here. So I like to have a bag of tapioca starch next to me to help me coat the dough so that it doesn't stick to the board. I like to coat it top and bottom and on the board just in case it sticks onto it. And then we're just going to roll it out into whatever thickness you guys like. The bigger you roll this dough out, the longer the noodles will be. So it's really up to you guys at this point to figure out how thick and how long you like to cut your noodles. It's really all for your preference. This is how thick I roll mine out, but yeah, for you guys, go for whatever thickness and longness you guys like. So after I roll it out, I like to add a little bit more tapioca starch on top, and then I will roll it out again so that it will be easier for me to cut. So I roll it out like this so that I can cut it into strands of noodles. But if you guys find a different method that works for you guys, feel free to cut however way you guys like to do it. This is just how I like to do it. So whatever works, feel free to use your own technique. So before cutting the noodles into actual noodles, go ahead and add in some more tapioca flour on top so that the dough doesn't stick to each other, and then go ahead and just cut into noodle strands. And at this point, you guys can cut however thickness you guys like, so it's really up to you at this point. this is the size I like. So it's just for a lot of people, they like either thin, super thin, or super thick, or in between. I like it just in between. And then repeat this process until all your noodles are done. Just don't forget to add more tapioca starch to the noodles so they don't stick to each other. Okay, so the noodles are done. Now we're gonna do the broth and the chicken. This chicken here I have is my dad's homegrown chicken. So I like to use fresh chicken with the bone on, and then after I boil it, I'll shred the chicken and put it back in the broth as well. So this is about 2 pounds of chicken with the bone in, and I'm just gonna put that in the pot. And I'm just going to add some water. Heat. I'm gonna cover it and we'll let that boil for about 30 minutes. Come back to it and take out the chicken, shred it, and then we'll finish it off. Okay, so when it comes to garnish and toppings, I like to add cilantro, green onions. I also like pork rinds in there. It's so good just because it's crispy and crunchy. I like that texture. I also have garlic chili oil. I love that in there as well. You guys can make your own or go buy your favorite chili oil from your Asian grocery market. And then some black pepper as well. And if you guys want for extra flavor, my family, we love to add oyster sauce and sweet soy sauce in there as well. But it's up to you guys. Okay, so it's been boiling for about 30 minutes now. And I'm just gonna take the chicken out of the broth, and we're just gonna go ahead and shred the chicken and put the chicken back in. Okay, so while the chicken is cooling, I'm just gonna go ahead and strain this liquid into a new pot just so I can make it nice and clear. You can drain it if you want. So to this broth, I'm gonna add in some salt. Some salt in here, salt to season. And this is totally optional, but if you guys want, you can add in 2 chicken bouillon cubes. I just like to add this in there to add a little bit more chicken flavor. And then this is the chicken that I shredded and cut earlier. So that can be added in as well. And this is also optional if you guys want to add. I like this in there just because I like meatballs. So this is pork meatballs. You guys can add the beef, chicken, or pork meatballs, whatever you guys like. So I'm going to add this in there as well. Okay. And then we're just going to stir it. Mix well. And at this point, you guys can go ahead and taste for seasoning, add more salt, more whatever you guys like in there, and then we're just gonna add the noodles in once it boils back up. So this has come to a boil. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and add in my noodles here that I made earlier. You want to just keep making sure the noodles stick to the bottom. And at this point, if you guys find that this is not enough liquid for you guys, feel free to add a little bit more water. But in our family, we like a lot of the noodles, and we like it kind of thick. So and once the noodles come and rises to the top, that means it's pretty much done. Super easy. See how thick it's getting? Oh my gosh. Yeah, now these noodles are risen to the top and it's pretty much done. So we can take it off the heat. Slide some in here. black pepper. I'll show you here. Garlic chili oil. Just right there. And then sometimes we like to add some oyster sauce here. And this thing, sweet soy sauce. Like around it. And then pork rinds, my favorite. Just all over it. All over. That's basically it. So good. Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering. We haven't even finished garnishing yet.